popcorn. We are two niggas spoiling movies. Yeah. Brandon Collins, that's me, and Justin Brown for your movie needs. Media popcorn. Woo! You haven't seen it, well, we're gonna spoil it. Spoil it in your face. That's your warning. So if you get pissed, it's all your fault.
What's up, little biscuits and sundried tomatoes? This is your boy Eddie Collins.
Guys, and it's Justin Brown.
And we are Media Popcorn spoiling movies. And we're about to spoil the hell out of the James Gunn Superman movie that kicks off the new DC universe. It's the first film, because apparently there's Creature Commandos that kind of technically kicks off the universe. I haven't watched it yet, but this is the first feature film. And, you know, Justin and I, we've been talking a long time about this movie in anticipation. It felt like there was a lot of writing on it, not just for DC and James Gunn and Peter Safran, but also for like comic book movies in general. Like, if people don't fuck with this, what does that say about the comic book genre going forward?
Well, I also think that like I think the big narrative everyone was saying is like everyone was talking about how like, oh, James Gunn's about to save the DC universe and how great this movie's going to be. And I think maybe I was one of the few. It was just like, let's hold on, guys, because we don't know how this thing's going to turn out. And just because James Gunn's given the keys, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to do it. And like, while if this movie's good, that this is only just the beginning. We have to wait until like 4 or 5 movies down the road when fucking DC is just like, hey, we want this, we want that. And can James Gunn hold up? So like that's the real thing that we need to look towards. And it's like this movie is a first step in the, you know, and let's jump to shark here. It's like in the right direction, but is he going to be able to stick the landing? Because, you know, as we know, Warner Brothers is fucking wild.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, I think, you know, and like kind of folks, we're going to probably be jumping around. So just, you know, hold on to your butts, strap in, and try to keep up as much as you can. I think with the hint of Supergirl at the end, like, and from what I understand about what that story is, it's going to be like kind of a road trip, like where she's trying to find crypto and she's like gone on a bender for her birthday. And I think Lobo maybe takes crypto or something like that. And it's going to be like a standalone. I think if they keep doing standalone films and allowing different directors to do different things with these DC characters that eventually might lead up to some kind of team up, I think that's the way to go. I think allowing directors and writers to really shine through their work. You know, they're doing a Clayface movie. Fuck it. Do something different. Like, have fun with it. Do different tones. Like, I'm fine with it because I enjoyed this movie. At times, though, I was kind of like, this doesn't feel quite like a James Gunn movie, but maybe he was adapting to meet kind of the DC, you know, vibe or whatever they're going for. But like, there were very few things that I like did like bother me about this movie. Overall, I was like, okay, I had a good time with this. I thought Nicholas Hoult was great as Lex Luthor. I thought Rachel Brosnahan was a great choice for Lois Lane. Wasn't the biggest fan of her hairstyle. I thought it was a little weird. I thought, but I think that's also like
it's kind of a little bit outdated. You know
I think you're playing down how beautiful she is because like Marvelous Miss Maisel, man, she is fucking Jesus Christ. And I thought David Corenswet, like he got better, like as the movie progressed. I thought we didn't really get to see him as Clark Kent though. It was mostly Superman, which is actually
we only had
Superman movies.
I think we had like a scene and a half of him as Clark Kent.
Yeah, like it's actually pretty surprising when you think about how little Clark Kent they had. I did appreciate though, and because you know, just I talked about this with the superhero character. I did appreciate the quick line that what's his name? With the bowl cut guy Gardner, the Green Lantern dude. When he mentioned the glasses, Clark Kent's glasses basically have an effect on you where you don't see him, like he looks different to everyone else than Superman looks. I was like, okay, I appreciate that quick line because that's always bothered me about the fucking duality of Clark Kent and Superman. It's always bothered me. But you know what, like again, like I think if you're trying to like, if you're going into this movie and hoping it's going to be like a darker tone similar to Man of Steel, you're going to be disappointed. Even though I will say it was a lot more violent than I thought it would be.
I definitely agree.
We opened with him spitting out blood because he finally he lost his first fight ever to Ultraman. Like, that was pretty wild. Like, just open like that. I was like, okay.
Well, I think the opening was actually pretty cool. Of just like, you know, what they've been around for 3,000 years, right? Metahumans have been around for 3,000 years. he his ship crashed 30 years ago. 3 days ago he fucking no, well, 3 years ago he Superman shows up. And then 3 days ago, he stopped that fucking invasion. And then 3 minutes ago, this nigga lost his first fight.
Yeah. And then like
I love the whole threes thing coming out. I thought that was pretty cool. I imagine there's some sort of numerology or something like that kind of that they're working in there. But like I like that. But there's one thing about with the promotion of this, which I feel like did not actually do very well for was it David Cornsweet?
Yes.
He in this film looks great as Superman. It works. Yeah. It totally works. But if you looked at those fucking posters, he looks really fucking stupid.
Yeah, he doesn't look great in the promo. Like even when they showed like the clips of him flying, it didn't look great until you saw the whole film, and like it looked way better. Like I think, yeah, it was weird how they kind of chopped up some of the scenes and stuff, but like I think everyone looked way better when you actually saw the film versus the way that, like to your point, like the whether it's the marketing promotion posters and materials or the trailers.
And like that's like the marketing department. Like what are you guys doing? Like marketing is a huge part of like selling this film and making people want to see it. And a part of me, every time I saw a poster, I'm just like, that nigga just doesn't look like fucking Superman. It just like, it doesn't work for me. And like, that's another thing that was turning me off about the film, because he didn't give me Superman vibes at all. But I'm looking at all this marketing material for it, and that's in the forefront. And like, so that's the thing that I just wasn't understanding about what was going on here. But on the other end, I am glad that they actually did better, in the actual film than their marketing material. And, but like, that's the kind of stuff that will turn people off and make them not want to watch. You know what I'm saying? That's the shit I just don't get.
I mean, but it's still, it did very well. The box office is doing very well thus far as this recording. I think it's grossed $337 million worldwide. I will say, I think one of the issues that probably marketing faced was that this movie throws you right in. And if we're being frank, very, very simple plot to follow. It's just a lot. It's like a comic book like show. Like it's like a lot of different things happening, and like there's not really much room to breathe. The longest room scene we have where we kind of get like some character development is a 12-minute scene between Lois interviewing Clark Kent at like her apartment. Like them talking about him intervening with the war. And I know there's a lot of commentary, especially this course online, about it represents, Gaza and Jerusalem and stuff like that, and like in Israel, I mean, and all these stuff. And it's just kind of like, all right, like, yes, that maybe is a factor, and James Gunn is doing whatever he wants on that. I think it is important though to talk about like what does it mean for a dude like with this kind of power to intervene on a global scale like that without like checking with the proper channels and like diplomats and things like that and like diplomacy. And then you see Lex Luthor, it's a good parallel to what Lex Luthor does, right? And how he the power and hijacks it for his own nefarious deeds. I thought like it made sense for the plot. I think some people are reading too deep into it and trying to like put on their own baggage and issues onto this stuff, because the whole Dean Cain and everybody saying this is too woke. I'm like, Superman being nice is too woke. Like kindness is too woke because he's saving people, like mostly people of color. Like,
and that's the thing. It's just like, but if you're looking at comic book wise, who Superman was, he was about the preservation of life. He didn't give a fuck whose life it was. That's why he wasn't somebody that was out there killing. He was just like, hey, it's just like people are being fucking hurt, and like I'm not gonna let you go out there and kill people. He's like, I'm gonna stop it. Like, and but it's like, isn't that what you want out of a superhero? Like, it's, I don't know, like, and like you said, it's a very slippery slope for them to go down, which is, obviously what exactly happened. But I think, if you're looking at it character wise, that's exactly what he should have been doing, which, I appreciate that, because they didn't, try to fit him into like, this world that we live in, because he is an outer world being. And he's just like, no, basis is people shouldn't be getting killed just because.
100%. Real
Yeah,
quick to circle back to the Dean Cain comment too. He got his foot in his mouth because he was talking about how like they made Superman an alien, an immigrant, blah blah blah. And it's like literally they cut to a scene from Lois and Clark where like he gets questioned by like government authorities about his status, his like resident status and stuff like that. I'm like, you fucking idiot. Um, and for me, like I think some of it's very like you're being very open about like your biases and racism, like by saying this is too woke because like it has a focus. Lois has her own subplot in this. We have a great scene with Mr. Terrific. I think
yeah.
there's some interesting stuff about like uh I don't even want to go down that road, but like there were some really cool scenes. I will say there's a lot of moments where women are kind of eye candy, which is
Oh yeah.
interesting. Especially that one reporter who like
And the what the white hair? Oh, I had to look her up.
with the white hair. Oh, does she have white hair? Is that what it was?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I will say I got to shout out the casting director of this film because this is probably the sexiest superhero cast I've ever seen.
Yeah, yeah.
I would
But
say
that young lady, her name is Kat, with the white hair. Ooh, ooh.
she has some bangers, and then Isabella Merced as Hog Girl,
Mhm.
like she's a baddie. Rachel Brosnahan, I've like had a huge crush on her since House of Cards. Like that's even before Marvel was Maisel. And then like I mean Nathan Fillion, like with the bowl cut, looked crazy, but I know a lot of people find him very attractive. Like I thought like the cast was like great looking. Nicholas Hoult with the bald head, I was like, yo, he looks great.
Yeah, yeah,
And I
yeah.
thought
It worked.
he was awesome, especially the way that he like clearly had studied Superman and like he was good. He was telling his minions like they were fucking playing video games like A1, like telling
Yeah,
them all the moves to use Ultraman to beat the shit out of Superman. I was like, okay, that's a cool twist. Now,
yeah.
obviously, the next movie he'll probably be in the actual suit to do it
Yep.
himself.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I thought it was good, man. Like I said, I have very few things that bother me. I will say with Lex Luthor, him killing the falafel dude in the old universe thing, I was like, that's a bit much. Like you gotta kill this brown dude who just like was a fan of Superman and helped him out when he got slammed to the ground. Like, damn.
Well, I mean, I
Let's punch
think
his head with Superman. He doesn't want anyone to die. At
Well,
least so
I
far.
mean, I also thought it was pretty cool character wise for Lex Luthor that in that fucking shadow world he has his ex-girlfriend like random people.
Ex-girlfriends.
Yeah,
Anyone that did him wrong just disappears and shit. Why did they shit and poop like and pee and stuff?
and you always talk about me and bodily like eating
I'm
ass
just
shit. Like you always asking about
all
shit.
glass containers.
You
Everyone
always
can
ask
see them.
about shit.
You can see them doing their business. They've been in there for a while, bro.
Regardless, I thought that was pretty cool, but that also shows how like nefarious he is as a character. It's just like if you're not with him, you're against him, and like you end up disappeared, like on some straight up crazy shit. But it's like I think that they're doing a phenomenal job as building Lex Luthor as an ultimate fucking villain. It's like this is the guy you really don't want to fuck with because you fuck around with this dude is just like, and for something small, like you're disappeared.
Yeah.
It's like so I like that aspect of the characterization because like we don't really get to see that anymore. It's just like they give sometimes too much nuance with villains, and they're just like so you kind of like them a little bit. It's like this sometimes you got to give somebody who's just pure evil.
Yeah, and also like I think it was interesting. I love like Nicholas Hoult. I've been following his career since About a Boy. Like I think he's really solid actor, and I was glad to see him in a role where he gets to choose some scenery. And I love like to your point. I love the scene where he's like yelling at his minions, and he's like, they chose him as their hero, so they get to suffer the consequences of following the wrong guy. Because that's a lot of how our elite political leaders are looking at things these days. That's how the big man in the White House views anyone that's against him. He's like, yo, whatever happens to them, if they get hurt, fuck it.
Yeah.
They chose the other side, And I'm just like, there's, I don't think it's on James Gunn necessarily to have put all, maybe it's subconsciously, he put a lot of the stuff in the script because that's just the world that we live in now, right? He's just reflecting the world we live in. For instance, I listened to an interview that he did on a podcast where James Gunn claims that, with the monkeys that were like, tweeting and like social media, like bullshitting on Superman, is that which was hilarious. That scene was awesome. That he didn't realize that reflected him getting canceled for the tweets that he made that got him fired initially off of Guardians with Marvel. Like, because the interview was like, like that's like parallel to what happened with you. And he's like, oh shit, I never even like connected that. And I'm like, I mean, that does happen sometimes. I write screenplays and like my Tati is like, oh, I didn't, this is really effective how you put this thing in from your life. And I'm like, oh shit, I didn't even realize I did that.
Yeah.
And that's just what writers and creatives do. I think that, and I also like that they did like the different thing with the parents with Jor-El. Was played by Bradley Cooper. I thought the mom was Lady Gaga for a quick second. I was like, is that Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga as like Superman's parents? But it was
Bradley Cooper was the father?
Yeah, in the image. You remember like the video, and when he says basically like humans are weak, so you gotta like basically kind of take over and stuff. And that's the only thing that
shit. I didn't even fucking
Bradley Cooper. That's the only thing. So these are the things that like were not troublesome, that didn't bump for me quite 100%, because it is a Superman movie, and like you got to have the rock'em sock'em fights and like things like that, where it's like, hey, you might have to take over the planet, like because humans are weak or whatever. I think the issue is this iteration of Superman. Why I think it's very effective, and I'm interested to see where it goes. There's a lot of stuff we've seen before this that kind of touch on things similar and a little bit edgier, or like made it like because they got there first. It's unique. Like Invincible did quite a few of these things, these story beats before already.
Yeah.
In the show, right? And other obviously like other iterations of Superman and like DC, Marvel stuff. And so it's like it's hard to be original in this genre now. It really is. But I think they did the best. I think including Crypto was a good move. I like, I'm not the biggest fan of dogs, but I thought he was cute. I thought it was fun.
Did you hear that that because of Crypto the dog in this movie, that dog adoptions have went up like 800%? That's nuts.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Also, like people are fucking sheep, nigga. If you like, what are you doing?
Well, also, come on,
like, this is why you decided to get a fucking dog. It's just like maybe it's like maybe you need some love in your life. Go get a fucking dog. But you had to watch Superman, be like, oh, I need a dog now. Like, what are you doing? Also, this is not the best dog you want to be modeling fucking pet ownership after.
I love that Superman was like, I mean, I don't like him. He's not even a good dog, but like he's probably scared. I was like, there's moments like that where I'm like, he's just genuinely a good person. Like, despite like even like if he doesn't really like something, and like this is the cynic of me, man. There were scenes where like he's saving people from destruction, like with the kaiju monster that grew and shit's destroying Metropolis. Where I was like, man, it must be fucking exhausting to be Superman because you got to save all these fucking dummies who were like recording destruction on their phones. Like, get the fuck out of the way. Why do I got to spend the 2 seconds I spent saving your ass? I could have been trying to stop this thing from destroying more buildings and possibly hurting other people. And it's like, he's got to do that constantly. It's like, it's exhausting. That's why, like, I love when, like, like the one thing in the background when he's talking to Lois in the apartment, like there's like some like a weird globe thing with an eyeball and like the Justice Society or whatever.
Justice Gang.
Yeah, Justice Gang. And he's just like, talking to Lois, like he's not even like paying attention to it. And I'm like, I like that. Like Superman deserves a day off, or like,
he's just like, aren't you guys just like they said they got it? I'm just like,
he's like, I don't need this shit right now, man. And I love that there was like payoff for like even characters that were kind of annoying, like the Eve character, like Luthor's girlfriend with the selfies. I was like, this is just kind of annoying. What's the point of this? And then it actually led to a huge plot point where she was taking the selfies that had all incriminating evidence against Luthor. I was like, oh, okay. I see you, James. I see you.
He's just like, oh, just in case you fuck me over again. Yep. Yeah, because this isn't the first time that he's fucking like, kicked her out or whatever. Because like,
she knew about that's the universe and how he puts the X's in there and shit. So she knew that was above her head and stuff.
Yeah. So it's like, like that's like, it was actually really cool that she was like, yeah, she's not the smartest person. She is like, one of those people who's just, very insufferable, but she also understands what the fuck is going on and that she needs to take care of herself in some way, shape or form. Like, I like that in the sense of like, it really put a spin on the random fucking sexy woman in a movie or the damsel in distress, and making them is just like, like
Yeah, but
there's value in these kinds of people. Yeah.
And I love that they like, you know, to that point, like I love that they made like Jimmy Olsen like some kind of like sex, like not symbol, but like, you know, like a lot of women were like attracted to him and stuff. Like you know, he's
Oh yeah, Jimmy also gets it in.
yeah, he's always nerdy and dopey and stuff like that. Because you know, in Man of Steel, well, it wasn't Man of Steel. Batman v Superman. We get Jimmy Olsen for 2 seconds before that nigga gets shot. Like they killed Jim.
Oh yeah,
A lot of
yeah,
people don't
that's
even
right.
know that guy was Jimmy Olsen. Like he was just a photographer with Lois Lane at the beginning of Batman v Superman. I'm like, yo, that's supposed to be Jimmy Olsen. He just got executed in the first 10 minutes of Batman v Superman. But I mean, again, casting director, yo, because Sarah Sampio, who played Eve, and who's the actress that played the engineer? Because I was like, yo, with them cornrows, I don't know why, but that did something to me. I was like, I was like, yo, she looks hot. The engineer was a cool character, even though there's a scene at the Fortress of Solitude where she instead of turning around, just turning around, she like flips her body to face the other direction. Like you could have just spun around. You didn't, because I'm sure that's not comfortable. Because she's like a human that might have like that engineered herself to be able to do the different and the nanotechnology. So I'm like, okay, that didn't seem as efficient, but you know, and she had that bodysuit on. I was like,
I'm here for it. I'm here
I
for
was
it.
I was here for all like I said, I thought this was like the sexiest superhero movie. Like I was like, yo, everyone looks great. They look a lot better, like we said in the trailers make it seem.
A lot
I thought
better.
I thought David Corn Sweat and Rachel Brosnahan, they had great chemistry in their respective roles. And I want to shout out Edie Gathegi, who played Mr. Terrific, because he got screwed over, and he's talked about some recent interviews as Darwin and X-Men First Class. Because I remember that character that just like immediately died after we had this buildup of his character in First Class, and everyone was like, "Damn, you just did the brother like that." And so for him to get like not only like some real involvement in the plot, but have a really cool action sequence where he's like protecting Lois and he's fucking up the like army compound that's holding a portal into Luther's alt universe. I was like, this is cool, man. And he looked goofy as hell, but like it was cool.
Oh, you mean with the fucking T on his head?
Yeah, he looked crazy, but it kind of worked though. Like, you know, it's different. Like, you know, you fully embrace like how these costumes look.
Well, it's like that's not a character that people really know that much about. But it is an important character in DC, and a character that, you know, that's been out there, that is a black character that never got any burn, and then boom, you know, yeah, people are just like, oh, Mr. Terrific was great. And I've heard that not just from black people, but from like, a lot of people. It's like, oh, that character, I really like that character. So it's just like, yeah, you know, and like, yeah, it doesn't necessarily just have to be about race, you know, and but at the same time, it's just like that character being great had nothing to do with race. Is the fact it's like they actually just made him fucking cool, when typically they only do that for certain kinds of characters, and then everyone else gets left behind. So it's like, it was good to see them actually give somebody something fun to do, you know, that isn't just like the stereotypical fucking look and feel that we get in Hollywood.
100%. And also like that was one of the few, I think this is where I was like, man, this doesn't quite feel like a James Gunn movie. Is like there were very few needle drops in this movie, and that was that scene, the action scene at the army fort, was one of the few moments where there was like a song playing, because he usually like is very involved in like having like specific soundtracks. Because I remember like Guardians of the Galaxy 1, I think it has one of the best movie soundtracks ever. Like it's so good. Every song like contributes to the mood you're supposed to feel and stuff. It's very influential in like some of my screenwriting. And so I was kind of, oh, okay. But I know some people complain about how silly the movie is, but I'm like, we kind of need like I feel like this was a good palate cleanser to what's been going on in the world lately.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I mean, even like when Lex Luthor goes real dark, I was like, damn, like, you know, he's executing people and shit, and he's, you know, keeping this one alien superhero like his kid, so he can like, you know, keep him away so he can torture Clark Kent. I mean, this is where I was like, man, Lex Luthor, like he's a problem, because like the fact that he came up with that idea to like keep Superman in that like box with that dude who could create kryptonite, I was like, it's pretty genius, man.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I also like the fact is that like, all right, typically when we see Superman, you know, interact with kryptonite, it's just like, oh, I have a tummy ache. Oh, my stomach hurts. And he's like, kind of like, doubled over holding the stomach, type of shit. But like, I like the fact is like it's almost like he was like decaying. Like that, like I love that aspect of it. It's just like, yeah, this is what it really does, Superman. But even after that dude makes like a fake sun to kind of heal him up a little bit, he still had kryptonite poisoning. So he needed to fucking sleep it off and recharge with the sun, just so he can fucking function again. So it's like, and that's after fucking, almost getting sucked into a black hole and have to fucking blow his breath on it, to kind of give them an extra boost to push himself away and all that. So it's like, I think it was really cool that that in a way they kind of humanize him to a sense.
Yeah,
I guess, for a bit, for some things.
They show that he can be broken, like, and physically, because like that's the biggest issue with Superman, right? It's like, how do you defeat the strongest being ever known? You know what I mean? Like, we open with him being wounded, and then we show him getting fucked up throughout the movie. And again, shout out to the casting, because the people that play Mom and Pa Kent were great. Like, they were ordinary schmegula Midwest Kansas folk.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Kevin
Like,
Costner. Yeah,
which I thought that was fine until he told. I mean, this is Zack Snyder, his crazy ass script. When he told Clark, he was like, "You should have let those kids die." I was like, "Jesus Christ!" He's like, "Yeah, but that bus was sick. You should just let them die." Like, all right, that's definitely
like, what was I supposed to do? I'm like, yes, nigga, yeah.
And then like Lois takes him in that spaceship from Mr. Terrific and stuff, and she gets to get like some context on Clark, his life, because apparently like they've only been dating for a few months and stuff, and she's still getting to know who Clark Kent is, and so seeing like him
3
like,
months
in his bedroom and stuff like that, and I was like, okay, this is cool, and I think that there's an opportunity in the sequel to explore more of Clark Kent, because I think folks forget that James Gunn wrote that. He wrote what would happen if Superman went bad. He wrote that Brightburn movie.
Yeah.
That we saw. I mean, it's not a perfect movie, but it's like very, like, for me, I thought it was like, well, if Clark Kent, like, if Superman went bad, like, if he was a fucked up kid that was like, you know what, I could just use these powers to kill people. Like, I don't need the help. Like,
yeah, I could just make my life fucking awesome.
Yeah, basically, it's like, I can like be your ruler, right?
Yeah, like you just like, I'm your master.
Which is why it was interesting, like, because when you think about Ultraman, who's we find out is a clone of Superman, because Lex Luthor's like, I was able to get a hair follicle from you and clone you or whatever. It's like there's an opportunity there for that to be even darker, because there's a weird world where Ultraman like becomes independent and basically is like, I can like rule this shit. Like, I don't have to answer Lex anymore. I know there's Bizarro that's a similar concept, and so maybe they'll go that route at some point.
So the thing about that is just like, so like he got a hair follicle, okay, but he says like the hair follicle collecting blood and yada. But it's like, how did he collect blood off of Superman if this is the first time that like he really lost a fight, aka like no one's really standing up to him toe to toe that makes Superman bleed? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not a thing that typically happens.
I mean, that's the main complaint that I would say I have for this movie. It's just there wasn't barely any room to breathe, to really get like additional context and stuff. And so maybe they'll address that later, like in the next movie or like something. Because you know what I mean? There was like things where it's like just a quick line could have helped clarify that a little bit more, so we understand.
You know what? Maybe that was actually done on purpose. Maybe that was actually done. It's just like, if you don't have much room to breathe, there's not much room to question, and we can just get through this movie. Let's have fun. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, maybe it's like, hey, it's quick overthinking and just fucking enjoy the film, which, as reviewers, it's kind of, our thing to kind of fucking tear this thing down and try to, make sense to a lot of things. But on the other end, if you're just, a typical, movie goer, is like, hey, just suspend belief and just shut the fuck up and just enjoy. Yeah, because like James Gunn does also give off that kind of guy who's just like, don't worry about all that stuff.
I did like also that James Gunn, he does a lot of things like found families and things like that. And I love that he allowed the Justice
Gang.
gang,
Gang.
yeah, fucking Guy Gardner with that dumbass name and
Yeah.
that dumbass haircut. It was, I love at the end when the
Alien.
Metamorpho's like, oh, I like that name, and he's like, you're in. Like,
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
you're in. When they go to like help stop the war, and like you get to see like the Green Lantern
Mhm.
power in play. You saw Hot Girl; she basically beat the shit out of that dictator. You know what I mean? Like you got to see
Where
them
he's
in
just like, you can't kill me. It was like, I'm not Superman.
yeah, she's like, I don't give a fuck. And I like that too because it's like, oh yeah, these superheroes like that's the thing that like kind of happened. Like Marvel, I think kind of sanitized some of the superheroes. It's like not all of them are good people, or not all of them are responsible enough to make sure that everyone's okay after they beat the fuck out of them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, because I've been playing Spider-Man, dude, Spider-Man 2. I'm like, there's no way that like the way I'm beating some of these criminals, they're not dead. Like, I like hit this one nigga with a brick. Like, he's dead. I hit him with a brick across the face. He goes flying into a brick wall. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
he's
You
probably
just
not getting up.
yeah, his brains are on that wall now, sir.
Yeah, it's very wild that like in some of the superhero movies they like posit that only the bad guys die. Like only like the main villain is the one that probably dies. You know what
Oh
I mean?
yeah,
It's like no,
henchmen are
no.
getting fucked up more than anybody.
Yeah, I mean even with Superman when he's fighting all like the soldiers, like the like the soldiers in those robot suits,
Yeah.
he's lasering all of them. So unless they're stunned, he's killing them all, right?
Well, and they're falling out of the sky onto the ground.
like, like even Tony Stark when he would fall, like he's fucked up. Like I mean, like.
Yeah.
So it's things like that where I'm like, oh, okay, they could do some interesting stuff. Like if they're not saying like they bring in Batman and Batman should be killing niggas and stuff like that, but they could, I think that's one thing that the boys gets right. Like, sometimes you can't even control your powers and you accidentally kill people.
Yeah.
You know? That's something that like Gen V, the spinoff does a really good job of because like I'm not gonna spoil the thing, but the main character accidentally kills some very important people to her.
Mhm.
It's not because she did it on purpose. It's because she discovered her powers and she didn't know how to control them. Like, I'm sure if metahumans were real, like, especially depending on how like they get their powers or when they come about, I'm sure that happens more often than not. You hurt people that you love because you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. Or you just you don't understand what's happening to your body, like especially like the mutants. I think the mutants they kind of did a good job at displaying that. You know what I'm saying? Like in like some of the early X-Men movies and whatnot, there's like, oh, you just got your powers and you fucking froze your fucking girlfriend and she fell on the ground and exploded into a million pieces. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, of course.
Or even when you get older, I think Logan, that's one of the most heartbreaking story
Mm.
elements about Logan was when like Professor X is like, he's got dementia and he's basically like, I feel like I killed everybody. But I don't remember. Like he's like, I don't remember. It's like, yo, that's what happens. Though he's like,
Yeah.
he got all fucked up and he accidentally killed everybody with his powers and stuff like
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean? And so, I think exploring that side of being a superhero actually could be really interesting.
Yeah.
There's there's a psychological cost to doing this work. Like even for Superman, I'm sure there's like a point of him like where it's like, yo, stop being stupid, humans. Like stop putting yourself actively in danger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if I were Superman and I'm trying to save this city and I'm seeing a bunch of people stopped in their tracks with their fucking phones recording damage as debris is flying all over them, I'd be like, what are you all doing?
Well, but then you know what? At the same time, like first of all, if I was Superman, I'm putting out a PSA. I'm just like, hey, guys, there are really dangerous shit going on around you. Look at the world around you. Like,
There's definitely a barbershop that's watching that video and they're like, like, is Superman dating his sister? Because why does he know how to clap his hands?
Was like there's a scene where like there's a little girl and she's like walking and she almost gets fucking crushed. It's just like bitch, what are you doing? Do you not see the big ass fucking monsters? Pay attention. Take off your goddamn headphones. Also, what kind of shit headphones do you have that drowns out the noise of fucking crumbling buildings and a fucking huge screeching monster?
Well, I think that's the thing that's the gift and the curse with doing these movies, right? Especially when they establish that these creatures and metahumans are already been in this around the world. It's like, well, wouldn't the infrastructure and like the world plan accordingly? Like, I don't think in a world where like metahumans are existing especially for 3,000 years, you're gonna have skyscrapers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
Like that doesn't make sense. Like, given like how frequent Metropolis is under siege with different entities and monsters and shit.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't make sense to like you know what I mean? When we saw Jurassic World Rebirth, right? It's like, okay, well, these dinosaurs are now in the real world, but going forward, I would imagine big cities are like, yo, we gotta like ramp down our infrastructure, like, because we gotta make sure like we minimize as much damage as possible.
Yeah, true.
Like a society has to go to a minimalist approach, otherwise we're constantly gonna be rebuilding and just funneling fucking money into repairing shit.
Yeah. I mean, also, fucking the Jurassic Park Corporation, whatever that fucking shit is, they are paying out oodles and oodles of money. They're getting all the lawsuits because this is all their fucking problem. This is all their goddamn fault.
100%. I also want to shout out the Peacemaker cameo. I'm really curious to see how that's going to work into this universe. But I can't get mad at like James Gunn wanted to include that in, because Peacemaker is one of the best like comic book TV shows I think in the past like 10 years live action. I think like James Gunn was able to get out of John Cena's like in regards to acting and just the story and stuff. Folks, if you haven't seen Peacemaker, I really recommend it. It's a lot darker than you would think it would be, but it actually it's a very interesting take on like anti-hero.
And well done. Is a well done. And also like
he's
what
good
the
at
second
it. He's really good at it.
And the second season is like what, a week or two away? Week and a half away?
Is it that soon?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Because they hinted like so the one dude, Frank Grillo's character, that's Josh Flagg Sr. Yeah. So that's the dude, that's the father of the dude that he killed in the Suicide Squad movie. So he's gonna be going after Peacemaker. And so it's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out and stuff. Like they set up some stuff definitely for Peacemaker and like, future movies and everything like that. I was surprised that there was there's like a mention of Gotham, but like, a Metropolis being all fucked up, you would think that some other superheroes might have made some type of appearance, but it's the same Marvel thing. Like, like it's isolated, let that superhero deal with it and shit.
Well, also like if that thing continued to spread, that would have just, basically cracked the earth in half, correct?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So like that would have been everybody's player. Yeah, he's out of his goddamn mind for that shit.
It's fucking nuts. I did love though when he got the shit beat out of him by Crypto. Even though that was a very like Hulk and Loki kind of moment.
Yeah.
But it wasn't unexpected. It's just fun to see a dog beat the shit out of people.
Yeah. Typically we see it the other way around.
Unfortunately, we're talking about you, Caesar from Black Ink Crew. You fucking psychopath. Yo, it's crazy how one person on like reality TV can really destroy. Like, you can prevent everyone from getting a check if you fuck up bad enough. Like Caesar from Black Ink Crew, Tom Sandoval from Vanderpump Rules. He had that affair and single-handedly destroyed that show. Nuts,
bro. Is what it is. Is what it is. Better
how
than
do you
than me.
continue? Like, you can't be friends after that. Like, if you and I got on a reality TV show, right? And I did something that like caused us to both lose a check. Like, I couldn't expect you to want to be my friend anymore.
Well, you know what? I think it depends on what you did.
What did I do?
You know what I'm saying? No, but that's the thing. Is it's like it depends on like what you did, because like certain things can be blown out of proportion, but then there's other things just like what the fuck like all right. Like the chick from fucking Smallville, she's helping fucking traffic children and shit like that, right? Like if you were on a show with her and then that tanked the show, it's like, fuck that bitch, you know what I'm saying, and everything. Like there's no coming back from that. Like or Roseanne, with all the fucking bullshit that she was doing, which it's got her taken off the show and the rest of the show continued without her. It's just like, all right. It's just like, we know that we can't fuck with her because she's a liability, right? But like, if it's something is just like, you said something and somebody didn't like it, and then they just came down on you. Like, well, look at the Colbert shit. It's like, are you really mad at him for fucking telling the truth?
No.
Right. So it's like, it depends what it is.
That's fair. There were quite a few cameos in this movie, including you have Michael Rooker, Palm Cleof, who previously collaborated with James Gunn, who did the voice of Superman Robots. Christopher Reeve's son apparently had a quick cameos on the ground news report. Yeah. Michael Rosenbaum, who previously played Lex Luthor in Smallville, voiced one of Luthor's Raptor guards. So I definitely think James Gunn has already said like he's planning on bringing a lot of the Guardians of the Galaxy people into DC universe and stuff. So we definitely need to be prepared for that. Wendell Pierce, of course, played Perry White, who actually says the line "Don't call me Chief," which is a callback to the first Superman movie, in 1978. Because when he said that, I was like, I feel like that sounds familiar.
Yeah. Same.
Apparently, David Cornsweet ties Christopher Reeve as the tallest actor to play Superman.
Really?
It's interesting, yeah.
How tall
And
is he?
learned he was cast as Superman while filming Twisters, which is funny because there was a video apparently in behind the scenes of Twisters that came out months ago. And Anthony Ramos at one point, like when he has the scene with David Cornsweet, he kicks him out the band or whatever. Like it's it's one of the takes the actor. He's like, I can't believe I just got yelled at by Superman. And so like a lot of people were like, what the fuck is he talking about? And it turned out that was like the day that they found out.
He got casted. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it was like, oh, now they're like, it actually makes sense why he said that. I do think because some people were like Henry Cavill, because James Gunn also in an interview, he talked about how he had to have the conversation with Henry Cavill about like, yeah, we're doing a new Superman. I don't know why Warner Brothers announced, because apparently The Rock really did go rogue with Black Adam shit.
Yeah.
Like apparently he like really thought he was going to be the dude, and Warner Brothers was working out their deal with James Gunn and Peter Safran. And so he said we had to sit Henry down and basically be like, hey, we know like you're excited about coming back, but we're actually doing our own different thing, different iteration of Superman. It's going to be younger, but he is hoping to bring Henry Cavill into the DC. I'm like, yo, cast Henry as fucking General Zod. Do a parallel. Like, I think that could be fun.
Or
I mean, I think it's less inspired, but like, I was just like, like there's a way to definitely incorporate.
Or they
Henry
do
Cavill.
Injustice. They do an Injustice fucking angle. And he actually plays the angry fucking evil Superman.
I think after Secret Wars, bro, I think the superhero genre is going to really pivot away from multiverse. I think it's very clear that audiences aren't really excited about it anymore. I think it peaked really with Spider-Man No Way Home. I think after that, people were like, that was perfect. No more of this shit. Like, don't do any more of this stuff.
Well, because it's so fucking convoluted. And,
it gets convoluted. Get people like Tati, who's like, just scientifically, this doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, the whole world would be falling apart. I mean, to be fair, Loki season 2 does kind of address a lot of this with the incursions and shit, which the problem for me with like Doomsday that's coming up is I don't think enough people are going to have watched Loki to get what's going on with the different multiverses and the like consequences that's putting. Deadpool and Wolverine kind of hinted at it, but like you really need to watch Loki to understand like the consequences of that and like also how Loki's going to play into all of it.
Yeah.
But I'm looking for more trivia before we get to our ratings. So Samara Weaving and Camila Mendez were considered for Lois Lane. Let's see. Patrick Schwarzenegger apparently auditioned for Superman, and his father had lobbied for the role in 1978. That would have been nuts, as Arnold Schwarzenegger as Superman. That would have been so crazy.
I mean, it would have made more sense being he's an alien with a voice. I'm Superman.
Yeah. Billy Alcock, of course, she has a cameo Supergirl at the end because it turns out Krypto's actually her dog.
Yes.
And she's the cousin of Superman, which apparently she's actually older than Clark. She's actually older than Superman.
Yeah, she is.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, because she was sent out. She was sent out in a pod the same time, but her ship just got knocked off course. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'm interested to see what they do with that. I think also Supergirl movie is being directed by Craig Giuseppe, who did I, Tonya and Cruella. And those were really good movies that I didn't think would work. And so I'm interested to see what he does with that. And of course, Jason Momoa's Lobo, which Jason Momoa is not the best actor, but that's like a role he literally was made for.
Yeah, I know.
When you look at Lobo, you're like, only Jason Momoa can kind of play that role.
He literally looks like the guy. I mean, but at the same time, fucking, he is just not a good actor, and it's really getting hard sitting there and watch him.
I know. Our producer Lluvia pulled up some letterbox reviews of Superman before we get to our specific, final review on it. Alan wrote, "There's literally no heterosexual explanation as to why Lex Luthor is that obsessed with Superman in this movie." Yeah, I mean, there's probably a little bit of like, penis envy and stuff like that there. Coop wrote all the money and science in the world, and my guy is still bald. I'd be upset too. 4 out of 5 stars. Damn. There's a lot of weird emojis. Just I'm gonna say call them Mac. Said, I'm starting to think James Gunn made David Cornsweet in a lab to play Superman. He's just too good. 4 out of 5 stars. The one thing I will say is James Gunn, in talking about the actors, it sounded like David Cornsweet and him, like, not that they butted heads, but they just have different approaches. And that David Cornsweet's he's classically trained and like very like a little stiffer.
Yeah.
He said he loved working with Nicholas Hoult and Rachel Brosnahan. I think there were definitely moments where it felt like David Cornsweet maybe didn't quite get the rhythm of James Gunn versus like Rachel Brosnahan and like Nicholas Hoult. I thought that they like tonally, like they just kind of locked into how like his scripts work and the dialogue works. But I still think he did a good job as Superman. Sam said, finally, a Superman that acts like he was raised by the Kents and not by the devil himself. I'm looking at you, Zack Snyder. 4 out of 5 stars. Henry Cavill really got screwed over by that script. I really do think like he was a good Superman.
No, he was
mediocre shit. That's the problem, you know?
Well, I mean, like he was polishing up a turd. And you know, and I know I'm in like the minority that didn't like Man of Steel. You know, a lot of people get at me for that, but it was like, tonally, I didn't think that it really fit.
There's a lot to dislike versus like, I would say, in Man of Steel. I've rewatched it like a few months ago, and it's not as bad as I remember, but it definitely, there was a lot of things that were wrong with it.
Yeah, but like character-wise, there's a lot of stuff that just don't really line up with the characterization of Superman and everything like that. So, yeah.
Evan wrote, yeah, holy fucking shit, this rips. As a noted modern comic book movie hater, I genuinely think this is the best one. It has such a unique visual identity that I absolutely loved. About as far left as a comic book could be. We have reached new levels of where we are, so we are so back that we've never seen before. Very anti-Israel, which is awesome to see from a major studio blockbuster. Gunn is the best comic director. I mean, I don't know if it's anti-Israel. I didn't see it that way, but I know a lot of people will interpret it that way. And like,
I know.
Because I don't know. I'm not going to speak to that. And James Gunn hasn't publicly like endorsed that viewpoint. So I'm not going to like comment on whether anti-Israel or pro-Palestine or what have you. And Anto wrote, Zack Snyder's Superman found dead in a ditch. 4.5 out of 5 stars. Jesus
Christ.
Yeah, we think it's a Patreon. And folks, remember, when you sign up at Patreon at patreon.com/media popcorn, you're guaranteed to have your thoughts and views of those movies read on that episode. So Terrence Bond wrote, I really enjoyed Superman 2025. The entire cast, especially Cornsweet, Brosnahan, and Holt, were outstanding. I'm hyped for a Justice Group movie, and I'm confident in the direction of the new DCU. The 2 cameos were surprisingly funny. The movie skipped all the origin BS and dropped us into an interesting world of kajus, pocket universes, and snarky robots. I felt great after watching Clark Kent trying to save lives, balance his 2 lives, and cook breakfast for dinner for his girlfriend. Oh yeah, that's right, he did do that.
Yeah.
I give this movie an XL popcorn and can't wait to buy the Blu-ray. All right, thank you for that, Terrence. Sean the Terrible wrote, "Love the weirdness and freshness of it all." And then I responded real quick on Patreon. I was like, I always have to do a double take when you say something good about a movie, Sean. And then you said it's DC property. End of days. So Sean the Terrible usually thinks movies are terrible. Courtney O'Connor wrote, I give it a large popcorn, maybe an XL after my next viewing. Gunn crushed it, like I'm sure we all knew he would. He listened to the fans and skipped the origin stuff and gave us a fun film, not bogged down with exposition. The supporting cast was great, including all the villains and Crypto. Gunn's comedy was approaching the usual corny levels that he puts out, but luckily we don't sit with it too long. And I just want to say, as a longtime comic book fan and fan of the character, I appreciate what they did with the Mr. Terrific character. A level of exposure for a character of color within the franchise's first film that we had to wait damn near a decade for within the MCU. 2008 Iron Man premiere, 2016 Captain America Civil War, T'Challa's debut. Yeah.
I mean, do you blame that on Marvel? Or do you blame that on the world that we live in?
I blame it on the world we live in. That makes the. Well, also I think I blame it on the lab exposure that studio execs have, and they allow for themselves. Because I've had quite a few meetings with people that just don't know what they don't know, and it's because their circles are so monolithic that they don't realize, like, oh, I'm missing out on a lot of potentially good shit that I could like be mining for content because I just not exposed to those people and those backgrounds, you know. That's why the programs like I did at Universal are so important, and yet they're being phased out, unfortunately.
Yep.
Sean Simmons, MA, wrote, I had to get out of the thought that I hated Superman, the character. While Superman will never be a favorite, the truth of the matter is that I grew up enjoying Superman to a degree. I'm an 84 baby, so Christopher Reeve is my Superman. I always loved Superman 1 and 2. Heck, as a Nick and Night kid, wow, that took me back. Yeah. I grew up watching reruns of George Reeves' Adventures of Superman show. My issue with Superman is that I've been subjected to one dud after another since I was born. Even still, I'll check out at least every live-action film that comes out and hope that it will spark an ounce of care in me. James Gunn did it. This film was the definition of fresh. I felt like I was watching something new. This wasn't hitting all the usual beats outside the crazy CGI city smash fest at the end. That threw me off too. I thought it was going to be a lot quieter of an ending.
Yeah.
Sean said, I thought we may get out of the movie without seeing one. Same. Thumbs up for skipping all the usual traditional origin story stuff and getting right into the thick of it. I enjoyed David Cornsweet as Superman. I cared about this Superman. Strong supporting cast. I would have liked a little bit more Wendell Pierce, but shout out to the 1950s "Don't Call Me Chief" line early on. But with jumping right back into it and with so many characters, I understand why you couldn't spend a lot of time with the supporting cast. So some characters are bound to feel underused. I've never been a Krypto the Superdog person, but he was actually one of my favorite parts of the film. I won't say anything about the other characters because I'm bound to spoil something. However, whatever they have planned for Millie Alcock as Supergirl, I'm all the way in. Lastly, I'll add that tonally, I know James Gunn likes to throw comedy in here and there, and at times it just felt out of place. I look forward to rewatching this, which I've never done with a non-Christopher Reeve superhero film, and what's to come. There you go. Yep. So Justin, break down our rating system, baby.
So call me baby. So guys, so we can what?
Share our final thoughts on Superman.
Oh, I thought you said something else. So guys, you know how we do this. We rate movies bags of popcorn, small, medium, large, and the XL for the exceptional. If a film doesn't deserve any hot, buttery, delicious popcorn, we throw it into the stale popcorn pile. We pile piles and piles of stale popcorn on top of it. So Brandon, we watched the 2005 superhero film, Superman. This is starring David Cornsweet, Rachel Rosenshaw. I'm sorry. Rosen.
Rachel Rosen, shine, baby.
This is sorry, a Jew. Like, what the fuck was I saying?
I don't know.
You know what, Brandon? What say you, sir? Let me just stop.
Yeah, this gets a large.
Nicholas Hoult. I gotta give him Nicholas Hoult. Yeah.
This gets a large. I thought the cast was great. I thought the story was pretty damn good. Even though like there could have been some quieter moments because this is like it's a little under 2 hours or like exactly 2 hours. Like, so given like how long,
so given
how long, how long superhero movies typically are, like I think you could have like maybe added 5 or 7 more minutes of character development and quieter moments. But nonetheless, I can't get mad. Like, this could have been a disaster. This could have really been a shit show, and James Gunn actually did it. And given the pressure that he was under as a studio head and to launch this new iteration of the DCU, I think he did a fantastic job giving everything he was dealing with. And, you know, I think that gets overlooked, how much pressure some of these directors are under.
Yeah.
Right. The only issue, and this isn't about Superman, the only thing is what we just talked about with the studio execs and stuff like that. I need James Gunn to widen his talent pool, especially for behind the camera with writing and directing, besides white guys. Like, it just needs to happen, dude. Like, come on, man. There's so much talent out there. So many people that love these characters in the superhero genre. You got to expand your reach because that's going to become a problem for you at some point if you keep going that route.
Yeah. But especially as you start to delve into other characters, because it's not going to be as black and white as Superman.
Yeah, no pun intended.
Yeah.
But yeah, this gets a large. I really, really enjoyed it. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing where they take these characters and stories next. Justin, what about you?
Okay, so first, I think before I just drop, what I'm going to rate this, I'm not a big Superman fan. I think he's a little too cookie cutter for me, a little too, just like he's too vanilla for my liking. There's not much to the character as far as just like, how he's built. He's just like, I do this. This is the way, I'm omnipotent. You can't stop me. And then they keep on adding powers to him to make sure that he's the best, things like that. And I always found that very annoying about the character. And it just like, to me, Superman just comes off as just white America. What they feel, this is who I am, right? And with that being said, and in the whole characterization, like that's what it is, and that's the thing that bothers me about him. But with that being said, I'm glad that James Gunn gave us a movie that's back to the basics of Superman. They didn't try to fucking do some next level shit that's typically not him. They went back to what works with this character. I felt like their Superman, regardless of promotional material, actually embodied what that was. The script embodied of what that was as far as the character is concerned. And for that, for me, holds a lot of weight for this film and any film going further, because if you're going to give us a character that's based off of a long-standing fucking source material, which Superman's like what 80 years old at this point, 80 some odd years old. We need to, like you guys, we know what the fuck he is, and why are we reinventing the wheel time and time again? That being said, I'm giving this an XL.
Okay.
I was ready for them to fuck it up again, like they've done with so many Superman films beforehand. This one very much is refreshing. It is kind of back to the basics, but in a good and fresh way, which is kind of weird to say in the same breath. I'm really happy with what I saw here. Now, on the other end, full scope, I'm just hoping that James Gunn can hold the line and keep fucking Warner Brothers from fucking this thing up like they do. Because remember, we love Wonder Woman, right? And then what did they do? They fucked it up.
Oh yeah, his brother plays Maxwell Lord, who was Pedro Pascal's character in Wonder Woman 2. So there's a quick cameo there. So they might be setting up that shit too.
So I'm just hoping that that they can keep the party going and they don't fuck it up down the line to where it's just like, here's DC again.
Well, there you have it, folks. That's a review on 2025 Superman. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Please leave a 5-star review on your favorite podcast application. We will read it on the show. And if you sign up for Patreon at patreon.com/mediumpopcorn, or donate to us at ko-fi.com/mediumpopcorn, we will shout you out in a future episode. You might even get a little shout out from Idris Elba, who do that, especially for our new supporters, everything like that. Again, all these links can be found at mediumpopcorn.com. It's also in the show notes. Again, mediumpopcorn.com for our Patreon, coffee, as well as a YouTube link. So all that stuff to support the show, it all helps us keep the lights on. And you can follow me personally at Brodo_Blackens on Instagram and Threads. Justin, how can people follow you on the socials?
Guys, you can follow me at JBrownDidit on all the social media platforms.
And there you have it, folks. Hope y'all enjoyed this. And, we'll talk to y'all next week. Unless we're on vacation with our flying... Well, we don't have dogs. Our flying cats. Because cats don't get no love, man. They really don't.
Because cats are dicks, man. Cats are dicks.
Cats are awesome, man.
Yeah, they're kind of dicky.
All right, y'all. We'll talk to y'all soon.
Peace.
Peace.